if we look at this, I like the colors, and here's why. For two reasons. Number one, first and foremost, and I've talked about it many, many times, I like clarity, right? I don't want to be guessing what I'm looking at for more than a couple of seconds. I just want to see it. There's a lot of detail on this, so it would be easy to get your subject lost because, again, you've got a lot of detail, the way that you've got the different layers of the I guess water or liquid or whatever she's in. So and it's obviously a flamboyant, fantastic, whatever sort of term you want to give, fantasy piece here. So the colors, I think, are appropriate for it, right? I mean, when I'm doing Spawn, I try to tell my colorists, just pick real colors. Look outside your window, use real colors. But when you get into fun fantasy stuff like this, I think you have to sort of go along with the ride and give it a little bit more bright, poppy, rainbow colors here. So I think all of that works pretty well. So and I like the subject matter. I don't know if there's some deeper meaning to all of it. But what were you trying for on here?
Oh, I can tell you. So this is the main character, my original character I've created. I named her Blinks. She represents me and my emotions. And this current piece is about shame and how it feels to me. And these there's two of them, but these like little gummy characters that are kind of around her, and the one that's like reaching up to pull her down, I call them inklings. And this one specifically represents shame and trying to like pull myself deeper into that emotion when I'm struggling to almost like regulate those emotions. So a lot of my series is about my emotions and learning to like coexist with them and love them.
Yeah, I like it. The only, and again, I'm going to be super picky here, right? So
Hit me.
Looks like we got some sort of blob creature reaching up for her, right? Which is okay, because again, depending on what you're trying to convey, then that hand that's behind her is almost about to grab her. So that might be part of the storytelling. That's okay, right? The sign on the other side, though, the humiliation, you've created I talk about tangent lines a lot. You created a tangent line on the corner, the bottom right corner of that sign with her shoelace, right? So it attaches her to that. And it might be interesting to play with it so that it's just off and there's a separation. So the only thing that she's arguably connected to is the little blob guy that's trying to grab her, because that's the danger, or that's the jeopardy, if you will, in your piece at that point. And by connecting the hand and connecting the sign there, you're sort of creating a bridge up across instead of letting the sort of the grabbing hand be the prominent piece on there. But that's a super minor point. So
no, that's great. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. The thing is, and maybe I don't know, once you start paying attention to tangent lines, it becomes one of these sort of curses where you can't unsee it, right? So you could have had 500 things on here, and I would have found the two, because somehow my brain just goes, Todd, tangent.
Yeah,
and I just go, oh man,
visual flow. You're completely right, though. It does highlight those three elements, and the story is really between the characters. So yeah,
and where the tangents really come into play in my life, because it happens every Tuesday when I go over the books and I do the lettering, right? The placement of the balloons in such a way so they don't create tangents with any of the actual artwork. And then even if you get the balloon in the right spot, then you got to pay attention to the tail, right? That's going to the person talking, right? And so sometimes it's like, I'm telling my guys, just move the whole balloon to the left and then up, or just leave it where it's at, but you got to move the tail up, because the tail is like right on the edge of a door and it looks like it's connected to the door. So just move it up. I mean, sometimes there's the odd time where there's just no good place to get away from it. But if you sort of study some of my books, and it's not something that anybody should be paying attention to, but you'll see that 99% of the time it's like, okay, no, that balloon is not. If he'd gone up just a little bit higher, it would have touched that line. We actually might have been touching that line on the computers when we got the lettering. And then I just get my production guys to we just constantly move balloons around to just keep all these tangents away, because it's too easy to just connect everything up. And in this case, you want this character to be floating and be the main focal point. And the more blue you have around her, the more you sell that. So, all right, let's look at the next piece here. So,
yeah, eggs.
Huh?
Eggs out.
X out?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, look at that, super sassy.
Double click.
So, can you guys see that, or is it still the file?
We can see it.
Oh, perfect. All right. So at first blush, I'm just going to give my comment. First blush. First blush, again, another winner on your part. And here's why. Because lots. That's my phone. I didn't fart. That was my phone just vibrating. Sorry about that. You got a lot of detail, but there's a lot of clarity on it, right? And so this again could have got lost really quickly. But what I like about it is that even though there's a lot of stuff here, you made some really nice color choices, because the two yellow creatures with the X eyeballs, right? Mm-hmm. I saw them like in a heartbeat, like no matter what. They're both trying to hide, one underneath the bed. It looks like one behind the plant. I saw them really quickly. I don't know if somehow the little sort of quasi cat head on the bed is somehow related, because he's got button eyes too. But again, I'm going, oh, okay, if there's any relationship, I saw them all. Then all the faces on the wall, you kept the same color. So again, if you had decided to make those a variety of colors, sort of like the gumballs that are on the desk there, then this wouldn't have worked nearly as well, because you've got so many colors going across the band, sort of in the middle of this, right? That if you had continued trying to get a little cute with a lot of colors up top, you wouldn't have given my eye any place to actually just look at and settle on. So it's really smart coloring for sure. And then again, like I said, since there's only two blue things in here that I caught real quickly. I saw the blue, which is all the faces sort of looking at your character, right? And conveying all the emotions back to her, whatever, while these other two yellow guys are trying to hide. And then once you get past that, so you get really quick storytelling, then you've added the element of fun, right? So now you have, if I look at like the desk and even the sort of box next to it, you've got stickers on it, right? You've got, Game Boys that are under the bed. You got books, you got shoes off to the side. You got the gumball. You got something up on the desk, got a juice box and looks like a can of pop or something like that. So, and then I even like, the sign you have up on the back wall that says hello there, but because a couple of them are out, it just says Hal here, right? So it's smart. But again, see the tangent on the sign touching her hair, right? There's there's two ways to do that. Either get her to go higher, so she's intentionally cutting into it, or get her to go lower so she's not cutting into it. Right? Instead of like, touch, and matter of fact, on the H, she's touching it twice, right? The backside of the R is almost there. So you almost have three of them. So anyways, just again, it's a silly one, because if you go to the other side of this drawing where you've got the big purple petals on your plant,
Mhm.
See how it's cutting into the face of that blue face mask, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's just intentionally overlapping. Cool,
Mhm.
right? Those are good moves. Those are smart moves. The yellow guy down at the bottom, his left ear. See how it's overlapping and cutting, obviously
Mhm.
in front of that lamp. It's a good move, right? So you get a lot more clarity of it, right? Again, the lamp. If you look on the right side of the lamp, see how you got a bit of a tangent.
Mhm.
Um, can you see my arrow?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right here. See the tangent here?
Yeah.
Right. So either, again, this is that one. You could just push it either a little bit that way or push it a little bit the other way. Because you've got nice right here. You've got nice overlapping here, right? It's cool.
Mhm.
Like I said, you got nice overlapping here. So you got nice overlapping here on the ear down here. Got nice overlapping here on the ear. So, and then even things like this, like I said, these are the fun part in here. I saw real quickly. Not only do you have eyeballs and faces, but they're actually looking at her to see if they can
Mhm.
get an idea of her reaction or something like that. So, and then all these right here, just losing it. So these are fun. These are little Easter eggs you can just start searching after you get the idea of the first sort of picture. So cool. Good job. Good
Thank
job.
you so much.
You're consistent. The one thing that I look at is, again, people don't have to have the same style, but at least whatever style they pick, then just be smart and consistent with it. So now, with that said, as I look at this one seems to be just a bit more sophisticated in terms of the rendering of sort of some of the textures on the colors and stuff like that. So talk to me about that. Was that intentional or
Yeah.
what? Like this?
Uh,
Look at how. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot happening just in this one image right here, right?
yeah.
So,
Um,
which you didn't have on the previous one. It was a little more simple.
yeah. To be honest, the difference between the two is kind of my emotional state when I made them.
Oh,
This one I
sure.
created on vacation, so I had like a lot of time to really plan and dig into how I wanted to render everything.
Yep.
And so that's why definitely this is like would be definitely the higher end of where my style goes.
Yep. So, yeah, I like the a little bit of extra rendering in it, but this is now where the colors then have to it has to be a bit of a master class in the coloring. So
Mhm.
over here you've got all these things and you've separated them all really well, right? The only thing that's catching my eye just a bit is especially as I sit back, is that I've got like this sort of pink here.
Mhm.
I've got a little bit of pink here. This pink here sort of goes into the pink here and pink here, and then I've got a little bit of pink here and then the pink here, right? And
Mhm.
so sometimes just watch just a little bit that like this value isn't sort of the same as like this value here
Yeah.
and or like this value here because if, especially if you do a nice job of layering what you've done, if you take a bunch of colors and they have the same tonality to them, it has a tendency to then flatten the image just a little bit, and then I'm ping ponging here where I want to focus on her, right?
Mhm.
Her technically and her arm, right?
Yes.
So even this I think is really important. Her stylus pen
Mhm.
or pencil, whatever, it's really important. So you could have possibly made this like way more whiter than any other white that you have here. It doesn't look like you have
Mm.
pure
Yeah.
white. So if you'd made this almost closer to pure white, it would, especially the bounce between what's in the background here
Yeah.
and the pen, you'd get a way better bounce out of it, right? Which is okay. And it's not like you're distorting anything because she's holding that piece the closest thing to the camera. So just like any other thing, you'd get a different color value as you move stuff closer to the camera. Just like this, you can, because of the way you've layered it, is like further away because you've got the hand. Behind the hand is the body. Behind the body are, sort of these things, and then behind these things are this. So this is like for sure in the background. So you faded out the stuff that's in the background, even this egg here, right? This pill over here. Even the planet over here and this other egg, and all this up in here. So you've pushed that back by color, but given that you pushed it back by fading it out, sometimes you can actually play the trick the other way, and you can make this sort of pop a little bit, and that maybe moves it forward. This moves it back. This moves it forward. Boom. So, but I'm being picky. I'm being just a little picky.
I love it. No, I love the picky.
This is really nice. So, and then I'll go back here to your. Yep. So again, I like the colors here. So the only comment I'd make here on this is to watch the construction of some of your shapes, right? So if I take this negative space here, it's kind of about the same size as the negative space here, right? And then if I take like this round shape here, it's kind of like this round shape here, and then some of these smaller hair curls are kind of a little bit here, right? So you've got like round and hair curl. Oh, is that part of her hair? Maybe that's why.
It is.
Oh, I was gonna say it all looks like her hair. So because it is. All right, done. So I'm going, man, it all looks like her hair. So it is good. Okay, then you won. Here's the only thing I would say in terms of coloring. And I didn't really see it. Maybe this is the only place a little bit. Sometimes people do fades. And what they have a tendency to do is that they go from like this value to this value. And right at the crucial spot where it changes, they put something in front of it. And so what ends up happening, and I'm telling you, like guys do my covers sometimes do it. What ends up happening is that all the fade and the transition that's happening with the color then gets hidden back behind there. In your case, you actually have a little bit here to help you because it goes up here a little bit. But because this foot, again, is creating a tangent right there, see it? It's blocking the red from coming through. Or if it was all the way up and underneath, then I would probably connect these colors a little bit more or something. But so the example is you have Batman sitting on top of a building and his cape is flaring and it's bleeding off to the left, bleeding off to the right. Okay. Then you're doing this nice sunset color. And what ends up happening is that the color chooses a color up here and then it fades, which it does, into a nice color down at the bottom because it's at the top of a building. But the majority of the transition is happening here, but that's where the cape is. And so what ends up happening is you got yellow up here and you got purple down here. And if there was no Batman, it would be this beautiful yellow fading into yellow meeting a little bit of purple, light purple, darker purple, getting dark into purple, or whatever color. I'm making it up, right? But by putting the main object, cutting it off, you don't let my eye make the transition. And so sometimes it catches me going, why do you got the top half yellow and the bottom half purple? And there's like, no, it's a fade. And then I look and I see a little bit up here and I see a little bit down here and I go, oh, just because of the cape. Got it. So, because otherwise I mean, you'll get, because here you haven't hidden some of these fades here, which are nice. So, but anyways, lots of fun. I'd keep it up. Whimsical has a place, right? I mean, if you if you were to take your art, I don't know what you do with it, but if you take your art to like comic conventions and stuff like that and set up, there's a lot of people that like this, that would buy prints and images and sketches and stuff like that. I see people that are not nearly as skilled as you at the shows that have people queued up at their booth. So
I'll do that
Push it.
eventually. I'll work up the courage to do it. We'll get there.
push it. I know. Look at I know lots of people that like aren't very good that are making a lot of money. So you're good. So if the people aren't very good can make a lot of money, then you can make money, right? Just get out there and just do it. So, because I don't know if you've heard me talk before. If you don't advocate for yourself, tough to get anybody else to do it for you, because it's nobody else's job to make your life better, right? That's you. That's what you get for the rest of your life. That you got to advocate for you. So being shy about things you're passionate about, don't do it, right? Just be shy every other time, not when it counts. So, all right, I appreciate you showing me that. I appreciate you showing me that. Really excellent stuff. So,
Thank you for your time.
I like to change the pace too. So,
awesome. Well, if you ever want a variant cover in my style, I'd be more than happy to do it.
Well, we do. We got a book coming up. Spawn Kills Everyone, which is sort of way more whimsical and goofy and fun. So it might be there might be something there. Maybe I'll get you to do a sketch. See if you can sort of show me something there, and we could do it, because fun's fun. So I'll get Jake or Rummy. Who has your contact?
Jake does it.
Okay.
We both have them.
All right, I'll get it. Cool. All right. Good luck.
Thanks, High Blinks. Appreciate you coming out. All right, Jake, who's going to be the next guest this evening?
Oh, Jake, who's going to be the next guest? He's saying. BK.
BK, have it your way. All right.
Okay. Let's look at the pencils. Here we go.
What's going on,
What's
BK?
up, guys? Glad to be up here. Been waiting for this.
Let's see.
So, to be clear up front, what I did with this is I made a original Spawn character design, which I shared with somebody in the Odd Key community. I like their art. This is actually Mason Lane's artwork, and this is my Spawn original character design for a nature Spawn.
Got it. So what were you going for when you were doing it?
Well, to be honest, I just came across a really cool character concept. I was inspired. I lived all the time in the city, and I spent part of last year in kind of like the wilderness, or in Europe, and I got to visit these ancient forests that were really cool. And at the same time, I was playing D&D, playing a character that was a wizard that was able to botanically control plants and plant life. And I had a lot of fun with that. And at the same time, I was in Odd Key, doing the cafes and watching artist stuff and people creating. And I began to think about what my character would be really cool as kind of a Spawn iteration. And I was thinking that I wanted to make this happen, first of all, with Mason, and we really had like a lot of fun talking about the details, kind of about how it should be done, where it should come from. And I just was wondering if you thought it was cool. And I pretty much was wondering, there's a few things about it, that are a little different or alterated from Spawn. And I was pretty much wondering if you thought it was cool and if you could possibly use something with kind of a plant controlling half animal nature Spawn, possibly in a comic book.
Yeah, possibly. but the for today, though, let's just focus on talking about art and the images that are here and just art in general, right?
Sure.
So the reason I asked the question when I was saying what were you thinking of, I guess I should have just framed it tighter than that. Was
Okay.
are
Yeah.
which is are you going for whimsical? You going for serious? You going for horror? What are you like? Because I see, because of the style of the horse, I see a little more whimsical because it has more of a cartoon feel to it, right?
Right. I agree.
And so then at that point, and this is where it gets interesting when you start mixing metaphors. Then if you've got that much whimsical in it, you have to then convert Spawn and him
Whimsical.
into whimsical just a little bit. Not, it doesn't have to go all the way, but has to be just a little bit.
Got you. That's Mason.
That basically then plays in so that the whole thing doesn't feel like you took two styles and then glued them together a little bit, right? Because if I cover up the horse's body, then I sort of see one style, and if I cover up Spawn, I see another style, right? So
Sure.
And so that's just, as I was mentioning earlier, the sort of the consistency part of it, right? Of just going,
Right.
okay, cool. But then let's just look at, like, so the shape of the horse and the arch and the legs, those are all cool, right?
Okay.
They're all cool. I may have made this line a little tighter because this leg doesn't seem nearly as big as this one, because we make the assumption that given that the width of this and the width of this are the same, that leg would have to pretty much end right here on the other side. But because you've got the horse at a 3/4 and you've got the leg here, my instinct is, since here's the butt, that leg is going to be here, which makes that leg bigger on the other side. Where if you take this exact same line and just draw it like about right here, right? Then our mind's eye will go, oh yeah, and the rest of it is back up in here, and it's about the same width as this. But you gave us the same width, so you're not letting our mind's eye play with anything because you're showing all of it right there, right? So you did it right here, right? You sort of hit it here. So again, our mind's eye will just fill it in and do all that. You've got Spawn holding some kind of weapon or branch or something,
It should be like a staff, like a magic.
A staff. Okay, so he's holding something.
Yeah.
So again, the reason I talk about tangents is because things sort of touch each other, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, where do I go? Because you create bridges going off, right? Like here, this is good. You got the hand crossing over this, so I know he's not holding it, right? Where if his hand was making his anger pose and it was touching this, it would feel like he was holding this, even though I assume this is on his back, right? So this is good here. The other thing to watch out for artistically are parallels, right? So you've got a parallel here, and then you got the weapon as a parallel here. And the only reason that becomes a bit of a bother is that at first blush, you don't really see this. And so, especially if you're doing something and that's actually important, the easy thing was he could have been kinking his wrist so that then the staff went like here at this angle here, right? Like here. And then I would have seen it. It would have jumped out and I would have gone, okay. Where I had to actually go, oh, he's holding something in his hand. And I don't want to have to find it if it's actually important. And I don't know how important it is, but if he was holding a gun, I mean, think about it. If it was a normal drawing of Spawn, if he's holding a gun or he's holding a weapon or he's holding a knife or whatever, if he's got something in his hand, then he's holding it for a reason. And for me to put him in there and to have his thing that he's holding and then have his cape in the same angle, right? If let's say that was his cape instead of a horse leg, it would get lost a little bit too. Yes, color pops everything, and I keep saying that color can be your friend. But I've also always said don't draw for color to basically save you, right? Draw it so that it looks really good in black and white, and then a good colorist is just going to take it to another level, right?
Got you.
Here in the tail, right? Sometimes the fun in drawing stuff, because you kind of got it here in the horse, right? It sort of goes a little bit tight and then it bellies out and then it looks like it tapers back up, right? If I was to continue into the butt here, like I get a taper there. This leg, see how big it is here in the thigh, and then down here, see how you taper it, right? Those are fun proportions, right? This is why cartoons sort of work really nice. You could have done a little bit of that with the tail, right? Because
Sure.
the tail, where it's the hairiest, where it's bunched, right? You could have poofed it up a little bit on both sides, but especially up on this side, poofed it up so it was way bigger, and then come in, and as it came down, then taper it a little bit. Kind of like a horse when they put a little bit of a ribbon at the bottom of it. I mean, that's exactly what happens to a horse's tail, anyways. Up here, you've got the horns, and again, like this, they're getting a little bit hidden. And the reason they're getting hidden because you've got angle, and then you've got another angle here. Here's a little bit of your parallel here. Here's your horn. Here's your parallel. Here's your horn. Here's your parallel right here, right? And so, and then here's your tangent. See how you ended that horn right there, right at the edge? Just bust it out, right? Just bust it out. Like all of this. I mean, if I'd given somebody horns and I wanted the horns to be cool, then either two things. I'd either angled them off and made them point way out, or I might have actually even come out and then curled them back, right? Curled them back so that these were more curved, and then made the cape or the cowl more straight lined, so that the horns are, not like you got big long line here and horns, and I know that because it's antlers, but you also got some big long lines here in the cowl, right? And so they're competing a little bit, uncolored. They're competing a little bit, and then you've also got this big line here. So you've got a line here and a line here and a line here, and the eye wants to continue doing this big line, so it takes away from the horn heads, which can be cool, right? Which can be a cool factor. So, anyways, just the idea, like I said, more consistency, top and bottom, and then just make sure that you can do some tapering. Here you did the taper on this. Punch it out up here, punch the horns out, right? Just like make everything be its own presence. But more so, make sure that the things you want to be important don't get sort of hidden by something that isn't nearly as important. So, here's another one. Got it. Here's another one. Same concept. Cool. So this one is again more consistent, top and bottom, right?
Yeah.
This style feels like this style, right? This feels, because you got muscles, doesn't feel nearly as cartoony as the other one. So this is all kind of cool. And you cleared the horns here, so I actually see the horns clearly, right? It's just that these go to point here, the cowl, and then the horns go to points, right? So this is that one that gets a little bit. You could have maybe come here at the cowl and then folded it actually so it came out this way, like up and then maybe to the side, which would have made the crown on his head like way more important.
We were trying to make the cape like not as big as like the traditional spawn.
Correct.
We thought it was not as necessary.
Correct. But the other thing too is take advantage of things like capes, and the thing that you can take advantage on a cape is get away from symmetry, right? I mean, you've got symmetry on the face, right? Because he's looking straight at me.
Yes.
And again, at times, try to turn your head to 3/4 or looking up or looking down. But this cowl is essentially the same size and the same height as this cowl, right? And it's about the same distance away from the middle of his head, right? So we're again, just assume he's got a cowl and the wind's blowing, right? One's up and the other one's blowing a little bit to the side there. It's what I do with his cape. You know,
Sure.
you can put 4 wrinkles, 5 wrinkles on one side, and then you can give 6, 7, 8 wrinkles on the other side. Oh, and by the way, those wrinkles could be twice as long. Maybe they go out to here. This one is tight. Why? Because the wind's blowing this way, right? It's going from right to left. So it's just like anything else, any other clothing you're wearing, it's going to get tight on the one side and then swoop around his back and then start bunching out and swooping over here. So you get less of, you know, this and this looking like this and this, right? You did a good job here. You got the cape going to one side, right? You didn't put another one on the other side that was equal. So you did it here. I'm just saying, just play with that mindset a little bit more here and up here. And then you've got the black here. And given that you've introduced black, which is a bit of a shadow, and you got some black here, you probably could have then, just to tie it all together, could have introduced black in other places instead of trying to do this. Or even if you're going to do this kind of shading, then start getting super thick and tight up in here so it starts to almost fade into black up in here, right? So you get a little bit of black here. I'd almost not even worry about what you did here. I would have just nailed these as black, 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 because then this would have connected it up to him, right? And then sometimes I even do these ones here where like I either go black up in here or I fold it one more time here and then I make that one black or something like that. And then it feels like everything connected to Spawn is all him, and it's and you're getting some of the same consistent grade of, I mean, if this can be a shadow, then why isn't this a shadow, right? Because it's hidden by something. So anyways, that's there. But I like the color, kind of cool color scheme. So ready for St. Patty's Day. So.
Yeah, I thought I'd do something because it's like nature based. I thought when I was figuring out the coloring, what colors, I was like, green would make sense. It's never been done, and this kind of like iteration of Hellspawn, you know, since it's from nature, it really doesn't care about the choices of heaven and hell, which is why it's meant to be green, and it's just pure living energy, whether it's things are alive or they're dead, like they decay, which keeps it in the black. But it kind of ignores the whole heaven hell morale, but gets crossfired, you know, caught up in the middle of it, you know, when nature calls.
Okay, so a couple last comments here. The tail, maybe you might have wanted to clear a little bit before coming in and then swooping it back out or something instead of connecting it all. But again, even just a slightly different color would help you there. The horse is at about a little bit of a 3/4 here if you look at the chest, right? But then you took Spawn and then you sort of started squaring him up a lot here. And then for sure, by the time you get here, he's completely turned, right? So sometimes it's what sells it too is if this is a 3/4, make the chest a 3/4 and then the head a 3/4. It's all basically running and moving in the same direction. So,
yeah. Well,
awesome work, BK.
Thank you. I'm excited with what Mason helped me create, and it's been a big ambition. Looking forward to having you possibly just get a view on this and to see if you think it was cool. And it's been a long work in the progress that think we started last year together. So.
Oh, well, you guys keep going, right? I keep saying the best thing about anything that we do, the more you do it, the more fluent you get at it. You get it. So good luck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up, BK. Appreciate you. Hey, Jake, what's the next guest we're going to bring up?
It's going to be GAAMLX.
GAMLX. Gam, if you want to go ahead and raise your hand, we can shoot you an invite up on the stage. Perfect.
All right. Let's look at it. Here we go.
All right.
Is GAMLX here? Or
Yes, sir.
How do you say his name? GAMLX?
Gam, you got to unmute. Welcome to stage, buddy.
Looks like he's on mute.
Are you able to speak with us this evening?
Uh-oh. I can't talk.
Oh, no.
Well, I'll go until GAMLX can figure out how to sort of talk back here. Because my first question was I was going to see if this is what his artwork looks like or whether it got stretched a little bit, because we've got tall, skinny here. And again, it might have been an artistic choice. So if he did it, he was consistent with it.
Can you guys hear me now?
Pages
Yep.
can get distorted a little bit.
Oh,
GAMLX,
there
you
you
there?
go. Yeah, I'm here. That's my. I'm sorry about that. My name's Dan. Those are my kids' initials. So
All right.
but yeah, I'm here.
So let's just, I'll just talk about it right here. So it looks like this is panel 1 and this is panel 2. I can see the difference between panel 3 and 4 because I got the black. So another thing for some of you that are here, that are listening, is, make sure that your panels are separated here, because even if you use color doesn't even help, because if whatever environment they're in, if the next panel is in the same environment, then you have to use the same kind of color. So you're not going to get a separation from the colors because the environment's the exact same. So the easier thing is to just do what you did here, which is bring the black down on here and get your separation. And then same here, you've got, I mean, again, I understand that in color, this is a jump, but you could have made it a double pane sort of one. I don't know who's sort of looking surprised or whatever, but you could have made this sort of a one track and then a second track to literally give it its own little white frame that is on here. So
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off because this was one of my first portfolios that I submitted. This is pretty old stuff.
Down here is
This isn't done.
wings or something, it looks like. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right here. Because you got angel wings. So he's got his wings here. Nice space to put balloons, for sure. But again, in terms of line quality, sometimes this is where just to have to watch just a little bit that your rendering lines don't look like your background lines, that don't look like your shooting explosion lines, that don't look like the back of old guy's hairlines, right? So a lot of these lines, the thickness and sort of, stroke, 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 right on the feathering here. You want to create, and then you come over here, stroke, stroke, stroke. You want to create a little bit more variety. You did it here. Really nice job right here. Right? So you got a nice change of pace compared to whatever's happening here. So there's a nice bounce here. So you constantly have to try and find that with everything that you have on your page. So if you could open this up and have made the explosion or the gun flare, its own thing, then we would have seen the shooting a lot more and delineated it pre-color than we would have from all the background stuff that's in here. It's kind of getting lost just a little bit. So, again, got the head here. You've turned the head here nicely, but this is looking straight at camera. This is straight at camera. This is straight at camera. This one's straight at camera. So just, again, at times, if you can just play with it a little bit so that we get a bit more variety with it, that these hands are good, right? These two arms are definitely different and that they're being cupped one over the other, right? Really nice here. So I see this guy's head. Good. And it's not the same size as these two heads. I mean, it could have got a little bit bigger maybe, but I see it. And then we've got room here for somebody talking, room here for somebody talking. Put a balloon right there. You could put a balloon right there. You could put a balloon right there. So we've got lots of nice stuff here. All right, so this is one. This is one of the ones that, like I said, within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, I want to be able to sort of separate everything, and in my mind, I'm not. And the reason is sort of color. That all the red is kind of the same here, and then I've got a lot of gray, smoke, gray pants, gray axe, gray person in the background, gray spawn, right? So there's, to me, it's a little bit too much of the same, so that, because you're not then pushing these three characters apart from each other. And then the other color besides gray that we have is we got a little bit of like off-white. So we got a lot of gray and white here, got a lot of gray and white here, and we got a lot of gray and white here, and it ends up flattening it to the point that at first blush, and unless you're looking for it, you don't even see this right here, which is, I guess, some kind of sword, right? But because it's the same kind of red as up in here, it gets lost. So this image, I bet you before it got colored, if you show it to anybody, your mind's eye would separate all these characters out, because the mind got a really big Rolodex because it's called life, and we've been studying life, and so it would have done something, and it wouldn't have said, hey, make all these guys sort of the same grayish color. Your mind's eye wouldn't have done it. So I wouldn't do it in color. Tangent. Let's see if we can find a couple. Here's one right here. All right. We got the chain touching his bracelet, right? We've got the edge of Spawn's shoulder is touching right on this guy's nose here. Not bad here. Arguably, the edge of your page, you're getting the edge of the axe. So it's a tangent line there too. This is good because, again, it's separate and it's going away from each other. But again, when you're doing things like change the shape of it. You did it here. You got swoop here, and then you got left, right going here. That's good, right? Here, you got swoop, and the spacing is about the same if you were to divide this right down the middle. So same with this. You've got all these things right in here. Don't make them so that the spacing of them is exactly the same. I understand that when they sew stuff, they would make it the same thickness, maybe in the same spacing. But if you want to put the body in motion, then basically give a personality to as much as you can, even the inanimate objects on your page, right? Just make capes flowing to the left, make this guy jumping so that some of these are overlapping and curling to the right, make the chain swirl back and around and up and around, stuff like that, right? Take this axe, make it twice as big, and then pop it out. Right now, you've got his shoulder, and then it kind of sort of goes into the edge of the axe up in here. So just pay attention to some of the coloring just a bit, and some of the tangents, and this will go way better. And just like I said, to everybody, just I constantly was trying to give a personality to everything on my page. So this is nice. I see the big guy. So again, I always say I want to see something on every page that I can just jump at and go, oh yeah, cool. So that's good. But we've got 1, 2, 3 things that are about the same here. So watch the scale and the size of your figure. This guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy are not dramatically different. So watch it. And then this looks like you put it through his head. If this is a down shot, which it is, those circles would be way like you flattened that more like it was here or here, right? Swoop those circles down because you're looking at it as a down shot. So 28, looks like some guy shooting himself. Don't quite know what I'm looking at here. I don't know if this is the end of his head or if he's got, maybe this is a crack in here, back up in here. But at first I thought it was maybe he was wearing a hood or something like that. So that's the other, again, if that's the crack, then the head should have been poking out up in this area up in here, so that was going and layering and overlapping in a good way back up in here. So, and then you got the crack leading again, kind of touching. It's not quite a tangent, but it's getting pretty close. And the problem is that I didn't quite see that maybe this black back here is part of this black here. So you could have just cut this piece here and then not worry about getting so cute up in here that I couldn't see it. So depending on whether you've got like a company, a corporate name here or whatever else, I always get greedy. I always get greedy with showing the A character as much as possible. So there's a lot of sort of negative dead space here and here and here and up in here. You're giving away a lot of real estate where this is the guy. Think of him as Spider-Man, right? You got Spider-Man. Why do you want to give away this space and this space? Why don't you want a bigger Spider-Man, right? Just get greedy with your characters. Like make them pop. And then the bigger he gets, then all of a sudden this teddy bear, which is a cool idea, starts to look nice. So again, talking about parallel, here's his arm, and then here's this gun. So you've sort of kinked his wrist, and so you could have relaxed it a little bit more. And if you relax it a little bit more, then the gun could have got relaxed a little bit more, and it would have come, so it wouldn't have been in the same line as his forearm right here. Because you got a nice line here compared to this leg, right? So, and the way that the cape is going at this angle, it sort of kind of plays into that parallel right there too, right? So cape and cloth, I make it way different than the body, which is what I do when I got Spawn in his cape, right? Put the body in, then I make sure the cape doesn't look anything or isn't following any of the form of his body other than the outline of it, because it has to be attached to it. So one more, still get one more. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I like the composition. Like I said, it's off to the side. I like the waving of the ribbons. The wings, I'd watch out for, again, that these are spaced almost perfectly and they're about the exact same length. And then you did it again right here, right? And so things that are living and organic, just make them have a personality instead of organizing them, right? This is like somebody combed his wing. Assume he's been flying for a while and doesn't really sort of take care of his wings as much as he should. And then color wise, and even if the answer is you got white wings with a white person, there still has to be enough of a difference between the white of this and this could have been off-white, so that I see the wings as being slightly different than cloth, right? Once you make it the exact same color, you don't do it. And then you could even pick the color for the ribbon if you wanted to really make them a little bit flamboyant, because then it would have been a nice framing device if you added a color going up and down here. But I like the composition, really nice.
Thanks.
So good job, Gamalak. Sorry we can't get your voice up, but
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
good?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Gam.
Okay.
Okay, no, I was just being quiet. I wanted to take in all the feedback. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
I hear you.
go.
Who's this?
Mauricio. We got
Mauricio.
Mauricio. So Mauricio obviously is pretty skilled. I can see here just in 3 panels, right? I mean, this is it. Sometimes I don't need to see a lot of artwork. I can see it. He's got nice sky here. He's got perspective here. He's got a nice bounce in the shadow. I see the shadows coming up here. He's overlapping this thing nicely, and then he's putting a little bit of a screen on it, so it feels like it's a little bit in the distance. And then we come here. We got a main character here. His colors are darker, and maybe she's under a tree or whatever. And then got her friend in the background, and then even this is even pushed further in the background. And again, there's nothing here that's 100% black, which is again a smart move because it makes this the background, her the foreground, and this person, this is the background, midground, and then foreground right here, which is what you're doing. And then got the tree cutting in here, so nice layering. Got the tree cutting in here, nice layering. Got the tree cutting in front of the building, nice layering. And then we got somebody raising her hand coming at us. Her hand is above the building line here, right? So again, I don't get it lost. And even if it doesn't have to be dramatically past it, because this has 100% black in it. This doesn't. So the separation is there already. So we've got a nice one here. Then we get the silhouette, so we know it's the 2 people. Down shot, right? This is a difficult shot, doing a down shot. So well done, because not only that, but this one is a difficult one too, and this one's right. Again, the handle here popping out, right? Popping out. Maybe could have popped out a little bit more, right? But sometimes you need to leave room right in here for word balloons. So you can't fill everything up. You need some kind of word balloons. So
Can you hear?
what?
Are you able to hear us, Todd?
Oh no, there. Now I hear you.
He
Okay.
turned down the volume on the headset.
Oh, somehow I turned down the volume on the headset. Oh, was Gamlex talking to me that whole time? I just thought he wasn't.
Yes.
Oh man. Oh man, sorry about that. Oh shoot. So
He was stating that portfolio was like 7 months old, so he's worked on a lot of the other stuff that you mentioned, but he was soaking in all the information.
okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. My bad. I got Jake's headset on, and I'm resting my hand, and I must have turned the knob on the outside or something. So, yeah, smart here. I'd have to look at it shrunk to see that this, and this don't feel like real quickly that they're kind of sort of the same size, right? Again, watch, and then even arguably this one. So just watching size, because this one's nice and big. Well, that Maurice.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Well, these pages are from comic book tribute to a Mexican cartoonist named Oscar González Loyo. He died a couple of years ago, and we're trying to have some of the feeling their comic books inspire us without using their characters. These are based on ideas that he had, on something that we're trying to capture the flavor of the stories that he made when he was with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, these pages are from a year and a half about. I just sent new samples this Monday when I heard you guys were doing the portfolio reviews again.
Okay.
So I'm totally game if you want to review this or review the next pages I submit this Monday.
Okay. Well, you should keep doing all of that because you're getting good results here, right? So, again, I'm not aware of all of that. All I do when I look at artwork is just I just look at it for the craftsmanship of it, right? And so keep doing all those things that you just said you're doing with it and the characters, and again, I get it that the color is going to be there, but like I'm looking at things like this. You've got perspectives, and it's a good perspective. This is everything works, right? And then you've got some nice little jewels here where you're adding a little bit of detail to make it seem like this is a place I've been to before. Here's the cups. Here's the little Keurigs right here. Okay, cool. Right. And then the two people that you introduced us to here are now sitting back here having a conversation. So you've scaled back their size, and then you come in and you go, oh man, I'm going to come in close up in here. Right. And so that's it. Minor note. And it could be time has passed, so that's okay, depending on how your word balloon is. But she's holding the cup of coffee in her left hand, right here, and then she's holding the cup of coffee in her right hand over here. So it's I'm probably the only guy who probably would pay attention to it. But anyways, so and then here we go. Nice, right? So again, this is smart stuff here, right? Instead of just going side to side, a little bit of an upshot. Look at the top of their heads. They're about the same height, but now because he's changed the camera, so he's gone up, the camera's up and angled, and then now we get a down shot here. So this is excellent stuff, right? Here and here. Nice face, over the shoulder. Hey, something's happening. Somebody screams at them, whatever. And then, oh, this is the barista must turn into a monster or something like that. So, and he's going to come and get them over here. So that's good. So that's good that I can understand all of that just by looking at it. So, and the color, like I said, the color values that you're given are, instead of flattening your artwork, are actually separating it. So these are quite brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody comes in, got the hands in there. Oh my gosh, somebody's screaming here. Nice. Here's the nice shape, like a big S right here. Whoosh, right? The hands sticking out. Cool. Right? Looking good. I like it. Again, just, watch these places here again where you got just a little bit tangent, just a little bit, like, again, get that knife either here or up here, right? Keep it away from that. Again, they're tiny technical stuff, but when you do it right, like here, look at it. It all works, right? Everything works. Right here, you got just enough of the finger punching through the hair. That's all you need. Again, I'm not saying you got to do anything more than that, right? But that just gives, and that little punch out here past the hair, just give it believability to me, because everything now is sitting on its own plane. This thumb now cutting through her clothes right there. So great looking hands. If you the rule is, if you can draw great hands and great mouths and great eyes, you can get a job in comic books. Everything else you don't even have to be good at if you can get the rest of it, because there's a lot of drama in it. Got some screaming here going on. The cat is mimicking it. Nice motion lines here. Nice angle here, right? So lots happening here, and I don't really feel like this angle is different than this angle. That's different than this angle, right? There's a lot there. I mean, again, you've got so much. Maybe I could find a couple parallels, but because you've got so many other things to break the parallels, nothing is really big and long. It doesn't bother me, right? So it's okay. You can't find different angles at all times.
I try to put those lines that way to direct the eye to the reader from one cat to the other.
Yep.
So that's why I try to use those parallels, but I understand what you're saying, that to break the monotony of the lines.
Yeah.
In the composition.
Yep. So here's a good one. So you got the knee breaking out here, right? This is going back behind. You got enough space here. I mean, could have moved it maybe a little bit over, but I mean, there's enough there. I see it. This shoe is a little bit higher than this one. So this is, all your layering, all your twisting of the body, you got a lot of it. I mean, this is actually a brilliant leg, because it's coming at me. It's foreshortened, which is tough to do. And then you took the ankle and you turned it now back. So now I'm seeing the bottom of the shoe. So I feel like this foot is going forward, right? The toes are pointing forward, and this one, the toes are pointing back, like they're curling back. So you've given me two different feel just in the feet. That's enough. That's cool. You got, again, variety of height of the arms, which is good. The one elbow is up here, the other elbow is down here. So if you were drawing lines, cool. Yeah, this is really impressive. So yeah, good here. I even like the lettering. So whoever's doing the lettering is doing a nice job too.
I really like to add those effects. I'm really influenced by comic strips. So I think that if you incorporate this stuff like Walter Simonson does, it makes it more graphic it adds to the comic.
Yep. No, I agree. Right here, I think this is part of the art, right? The way you did this is all part of the art. It's cool. Her arm gets cut off, right? This, big body, right, coming at me, and then I used to use these kinds of speed lines myself when I was drawing on a regular basis. I think it just adds, minus the speed lines, it's a great drawing, but because of the speed lines, it feels like she's jumping way at me. And then the jump of the scale of the face here and the face here, right? That's big. That's nice, right? That's the thing that you're looking for.
I'm actually really influenced by your work on Spider-Man and early stuff.
Oh yeah.
I really love the bold edition of Spawn and the recent Spider-Man that IDW put out. I got them right here, and I'm really enjoying the black and white art.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, thanks. But you're, like I said, there's a lot of, like, the hair is nice. The hair's nice here. The thing's getting wrapped here. You going with the big dot in the back. This is a tough shot, and because I'm coming down on the arm here, but this is all in proportion, right? You've got the head's turned one way, the body's turned the other way, so there's a lot of motion in there, and then you jump to this here. Yeah, shoot. Now your volume is a little distorted, so I don't know if you can turn your volume down a little bit, but I didn't hear what you're doing with your artwork, because I mean this is professional level artwork. What are you doing with it?
Thank you. I'm actually trying to break in the industry. I used to be a storyboard artist for advertising for around 11, 20 years. 20 years.
Yeah.
12 years. And I'm just trying to get into comics. I mean, it was the thing that got me drawing. But I used to I get jobs storyboard artist, so that's why I'm trying to incorporate all the
Okay.
things that I learned all those years into my characters. I like the way I like to emphasize body language in the characters, so they feel, so they can feel they can act whenever the script needs to. I'm actually submit entries for the spam contest for the four colors. Luckily, I wasn't chosen as one of the winners, but there was. I understand that there was a lot of amazing work right there, and
Yeah, there was a lot. No, but this is really good. So I'll grab your contact here too and pass it on to my editor. So I'm sure we can find something for you. So
Thank you.
because this is like I mean, you know, again, not to diminish other people when I do some of their other stuff, but I'm guessing everybody can sort of see what I'm seeing, right? You can see people that have a lot of talent, but they're still raw, and they can polish some of their stuff. And you can tell they're raw because their bodies are stiff, right? And so that's just a lack of confidence in turning in the body and just enjoying the drawing, right? Capturing things in motion, right? Like this, with her banging him on the head while she's doing her, her legs are spread apart and whatever else. Here, putting something over the head, it's cool, right? Her going, yucky, right? So there's a lot of storytelling. You can tell what's happening, and there's a lot of energy, and this is really, really nice. So we'll see. I'm gonna get your contact, and then I'm gonna see if we can't find something for it.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, appreciate you handing that in. So,
awesome work, Mauricio. I think we have. Is there one more person, or was that it?
Oh, there is one more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jake. I thought Jake said that he was gonna. Somebody was sending him an update, but I thought we were gonna do it next time then.
No, it was when you came.
Who is it, Jake?
Severio or something.
Severio 629.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, this is gonna be the last one of the evening.
Okay.
So, hi everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
See my email.
Right. So, just a brief introduction. My name is Saverio Scrofani. I am 19 and I came from Italy, so my English is just good for talk to you. And I'm very excited to ask Todd a few questions and to achieve some knowledge from the portfolio review. And of course, my dream is to be a comic book artist one day with the American style. And I started at 14 as a self-taught artist. And what I send is what I achieve for now. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's take a look at it here. Aha. Okay, so we've got
actually one. Oh, sorry.
All right, so we've got one here. So there's a lot going on here. So this is one of those ones, and again, I like the ambition of it. Because I see Spawn head here, and then it looks like his shoulders are up in here, and then this is the two skulls here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got all the chains. This is his hand here. So I'm just trying to sort of, this is that one I'm trying to put together here. So I got a hand here. Oh, this is his other hand here.
Yes.
So one hand here. Got it. Okay. So, and so oddly a little bit, that if this had kind of got cropped about here, it might have been more clear. It's just getting a little bit confusing, and part of it is that you're doing a little bit of the same rendering on the cape, right? So this line
Gotcha.
is the same as this line, is the same as this line, is the same as this line, kind of is the same as these lines here. Like, again, you got to try and vary, not only the shapes which you have, but then the thickness of the lines, and then the width of the chains here. They're sort of kind of all about the same thickness, right? So it meant then that the one that was around his neck, you could have gotten a little bit more delicate with it. But I also would then take some of these and either get rid of a couple, right? I think like you almost didn't need this one, and this one, because then it would have popped his head out, and then all the chains would have been below, and then we would have gotten that, and then we would have put like a big logo on here, and we would have gotten just a little bit more clarity. But I can see the attempts there. Just again, the composition, because there's like, you have a lot of black. What you don't have is any big patch of black, right? Because this area is about the same as this area. It's a little bit about the same as this area, this area, this area, this area. Like, you got a lot of black areas that are kind of an inch or 2 inches around. And then you've chopped up the cape, right? This is the thing with the cape. I'd get rid of a bunch of these small lines, and I would have made a couple long lines, right? So you get choppy lines in here, and then you get long lines, right? So you want to create a variety in what you're looking at artistically. So.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
All right. So again, in terms of composition here, so I've got like a patch here of art, and then I tilting the other way. I've got like a patch here, right? And again, in hindsight, I know this is a green hand, but like this space and this space and then this space are kind of about the same. You got 3 big chunks of space that are kind of about the same here. So this is your guy here, right? Don't like, you could have pushed him way up, because you gave a third of your real estate, right? And again, this is all valuable, right? Just think about it. I mean, I use the word real estate because the people look at real estate and they'll pay money for it, and they give you a lot of money because land is expensive. So you want to spend your space, your real estate, which is your blank page, on your core subject, unless you're doing something where you've got 2 people battling or something like that. So this right here, you could have pushed this all a little bit closer, right? This you could push this all a little bit closer and not given nearly as much value to this, right? You gave a third of your page away to this, when to me the core should be up in here. And then you watch some of the rendering. I don't care whether you want to make something feathers or wrinkles or whatever. I don't care what the texture is. You still have to find a way to delineate it a little bit so that it's not kind of the same stroke line, right? So what's happening here, and what's happening here, and what's happening here, and what's happening here, and what's happening here because it's about the same thickness and there's no blacks or shadows and stuff in it, it then creates a sort of, it flattens things across. Even though you're trying to make this go back, I know you're trying to make this go back. And I know you want consistency. You want consistency with what you're drawing, but you know, when something's close, then it should be, let's say, 1 inch apart from each other, right? Dig, 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 dig. But as soon as it gets further away, it should just get really tight and really tapered. And it shouldn't feel like what's back behind me that's tapering, right? That's going towards a perspective should be the same as the thing that's in front of me that's not going towards that same perspective, right? So,
Yeah.
you could have left the eyes open just to, so I get the pop, 2 clear pops of the eye real quickly. So again, like the composition, just like that other one, just work on the clarity of it, right? Because now you're doing some rendering in the armor right here. I assume this is his armor, right? But see how you're doing a bunch of these little short, little tight little lines, right? You're doing tight little short lines here, and you're doing tight little short lines here, and you even got a bunch of tight little short lines up in here, right? Don't make metal come anywhere close to looking like feathers or cape or whatever you're doing here, right? Don't do it. Everything has its own surface, and just give it a surface, and that it's all its own, so that you're not interfering with anything else. So.
Gotcha.
All right. So now we're getting some more clarity. So I see Spawn's face. I got the big cowl up in here. We're rendering black up in here and black down in here. So now and black up in here. So it all is marrying in here. The clarity comes in here. If I had this, is that I would be taking white and I would start erasing some of these lines on here so that they're all, see how tightly they're bunched here? And then they're tightly bunched here, and they're tightly bunched here, and they're tightly bunched here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And I'm sure if you finish it, you're going to do it down here, right? Don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it. Cloth folds and wrinkles in a way that isn't uniform, right? So make some big openings in some of these places, right? Just make some bigger ones. You know, I should have never done the tattered cape because people lean on that one so much that, to me, the bigger and cleaner Spawn's cape is, the cooler it looks. Because it's too easy to then make all these tiny shapes, and then within the shape start doing tiny little lines. So you start losing the shape because of the lines start interfering with your shapes, right? So you start losing even what you're trying to do. Like, I would argue that this cape down here, minus the lines, that's way more clear, right? I go, oh, I see the cape here in the shadows. Cool. I'd vary up some of the black. Okay. I'd vary up some of the black because like this thickness and this thickness and this thickness and this and this and this and this and this are kind of all about the same right here. I can count about 8 or 9, right? Vary it up. But this, I see the shape way more than whatever it is you're trying here. And then what ends up happening, unfortunately, is that you do all those tight little lines. And then again, here's the thing, you come into this metallic gun, right? Don't do short lines on steel. Make nice, long, sleek lines on it, or don't put any at all. And make it so that gun feels different. Metal gun should feel different than wrinkled cloth. And right now in black and white, there's not a lot of difference between these two subjects right here. And you and I both know they're dramatically different. So, but again, yeah, I like the composition.
Yeah, I still have to divide the individual element and add the specific texture to each one of them. Yeah, I'm still studying this.
Yeah. So we got him jumping over. I'm not really a big fan of giving a lot of value to the boot. I like the big boot, but I don't like it when the camera is next to the boot and it makes it like giant, unless you're intentionally trying to show somebody kicking somebody, right? I don't like that the boot is twice as wide and twice as big as the head. Like, why give more value to the boot than his head? This is Spawn, right? Come on, make it Spawn, make it Spawn, make it Spawn. I also think that the head is way, 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 way too low. Because if I'm doing underdrawn, I got a forearm, I got a bicep, I got a shoulder. So the shoulder would go over to this shoulder. So if the shoulders were going up in here, that means there'd be a neck here, which means his head would be about here, right? So, and sometimes if you're on Photoshop, if you just cut the head and start moving it up, you'll see that it's like, oh yeah, man, there it is. That head belongs here. The eyes belong up here. So, but, and then see how you put a lot of lines in here, right? So like this isn't any different than this, isn't any different than this, and isn't any different than this. Like make it different, right? Make this 1, 2, 3 lines and get out of it. And then let the colorists come in and do their job. So, but again, some of your composition, again, I don't know that I would have made the hand so that the fingers were looking like it's grabbing his knee, right? So his hand is the same width, his fingers are the same width as his thigh and his kneecap, right? That's down below. Unless he's holding something, maybe I'm misreading it, but
no, it's his knee.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right. Okay. So you're right. So don't do it. Get the knee then over here so that the hand is punching out. Right. So
right.
this is the clarity. This is the clarity you want to get. So you got nice and clarity with this hand here. I see this, but then I lose then the knee because you're lining it up with these tangents of the outside of his fingers. So I see this hand here.
Yeah.
Back in here, but then again, like I said, the cape becomes a little bit cluttery instead of making it be something monolithic. I'm not a big if you look at my I don't do a ton of lines in my capes. In all honesty, I try to get these big long lines, and then I do a little bit of rendering here and there to tighten it up, but because the reason I don't do a lot of lines on it because the body has a lot of lines. So I don't want the cape to compete with the detail of the body. So I make the body super hyper detailed with all the muscle structure, and then I open up the cape intentionally. But yeah, so keep going, because again, I can see. There's a lot of you're attempting a lot of things that are right in terms of composition and whatever else. Just need to get the clarity, and then the drawing as a whole just needs to get a little more sophisticated. But this is a great starting point, because usually people who need to work on their drawing just a little bit also need to work on their composition. You don't have to work on your composition. You got lots of nice compositions I've been looking at. You just got to work on. You got to work on the clarity of those compositions. So, but
absolutely will do. I'm just gonna ask you the last question, if I can. So I'm absolutely losing my mind over the decision of which school/academy to go, because here in Italy we have a few of them in Milan, Rome. I wanted to ask you if you suggest me more of an academy based on the comic book that lasts 3 years, and then there's a bonus master year, where like I can master French comics or American comics, or like more open school, where there are other subjects like design, history of art, history of graphic, which.
Well, I was self-taught, so I don't know. So what I would say is I would look at each one of those curriculums and see which ones speak to you most, right? and don't like go to the
Yeah.
ones that when you're looking at go, oh man, that looks like that'd be fun to do that, because then there will be a lot of joy while you're doing it instead of treating it like assignments or like work.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what each one of them has to offer. You do. So look at it and go, hey, I'm Saverio, and I want to do this kind of artwork, and it seems like this institution has more of what would be good for me. Choose that one.
All right, absolutely. Thank you. That was all.
All right. You
Thanks
be
for
good.
coming out, Saverio, and thank you, Todd, for
Good night,
taking.
everybody.
All right. Yeah, thanks for everybody to showing me the portfolios. Hopefully it was educational for some of the people sitting out in the audience there that may be aspiring artists or have friends that are artists. Go tag them next time and let them bring your friend.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to everybody next go round.